All right, hello everybody. Welcome to lecture number 2. So I'm going to talk about the first, well, it's really the first chapter and the third chapter of your book. Today, the first chapter was what was due for like the reading for Tuesday, and the third chapter is for Thursday. And yeah, so I'll get started. So first, chapter 1 is called The Nature of Art and Creativity, and chapter 3 is the visual elements. If you haven't figured that out by now, read it. So your book is going to give you a lot more examples than I will give you of a lot of these things. This is why it is good to read your book. I'm going to give you like a very basic like overview of some of these topics because they're fairly easy to understand, and I technically just have to. These are the main topics of understanding visual arts, apparently. Okay, let's get started. So, a work of art. If you do not right now know what a work of art is, here's your definition. A work of art is the visual expression of an idea or experience formed with skill through the use of a medium. This is a painting by Amy Sherald. It is of Breonna Taylor. It will be the 2020 cover of the September Vanity Fair magazine. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. This is a work of art. This is the artist. Her medium is paint. Vocab words, if you haven't realized that by now, vocab words are in that like kind of purpley color. A medium is a particular material along with the accompanying technique. Plural is media. That could be sculpture, it could be painting, it could be photography, it could be ceramics, mixed media. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, like digital media. You know, medium is what it is. But yeah, so paint equals like whenever it says the medium is the material along with the accompanying technique, it's like paint is the medium and painting is also the medium because you're doing the painting, but the medium is the paint. And the film or the camera is like your medium in photography, probably film. And then photography is like the medium. Yeah. So on and so forth. It's on the slide. Y'all can read about it in the little note section. So mixed media. Mixed media describes art created with a combination of materials. This is a Michelin Thomas collage. It's a copy of Manet's, or not a copy, but a reproduction, because theirs is like obviously completely different. Sunday on it's 3, y'all, I can't, just look at the title because it's in French, and if I try to say that, I'm going to just embarrass myself. So this is in a collage and assemblage. In my last lecture, I talked about Radcliffe Bailey. He does mixed media assemblages. Mixed media could be installations. It could be like more 2D where it's like collage. It could be sculpture, so it really could connect a variety of things, but that's whenever, like Amy Sherald, she is just doing paint, like that is her medium. She has a 1 medium. This has paint. It has, like, she does bedazzling. If you ever get to see, like, some of her works up close, if you haven't been here, well, yeah, no, none of y'all have been here since 2000. Never mind. There was an exhibit of Michelin Thomas at the Georgia Museum of Art a few years ago, but I highly doubt y'all were here for the most part. I don't really know where all of y'all are in school yet. I'm working on making it through the introductions, but I digress. This is Michelin Thomas. Yeah, she does a lot of bedazzling, and it's so great. So she kind of plays on art history, and in that painting, like, the females are naked, but this is not the point. We'll talk about that in another lesson, but this is mixed media. That's what y'all need to know from here. All right. What is creativity? Creativity is the ability to bring forth something new that has value. Mere novelty is not enough. The new thing must have some relevance or unlock some new way of thinking. So, being creative, it's unlocking a new way of thinking. So it has to be new. There's like this whole idea of like what is new, but you know, sometimes just recreating something in a different way is creativity. So 5 traits that define creativity: associating, questioning, observing, networking, and experimenting. So associating. So here, so I kind of like paired up artists to go with each of the traits of creativity. So here, associating is the ability to make connections across seemingly unrelated fields. So I chose Fred Wilson. He did Mining the Museum, and whenever he did Mining the Museum, it's actually done it in a bunch of different places, but I think the first time he did it was like 1992. So, in this, what he did is he took the collection of a museum and of different museums whenever he does it in different places, and he rearranges it in a way that like would have never been put together by a curator to speak to both the Eurocentric history of the museum and different colonialist and like practices of collecting in a museum. So over here we have like the suits of, so this was like the Picasso. So it's hard to see in this like what this actually is because I can only fit so much on here. But he's associating like the Picasso with like clothes of the time, and that was like the brothel women and then like the servicemen that go see those women kind of thing. And like then over here, this one is called metalwork. So it doesn't look that exciting up close because you're like, okay, it's just a bunch of like sterling silver teapots and stuff. But then you look close and then you see there are also slave shackles. And it's like kind of questioning the idea of what is good and good not metalwork. And yeah, what's like museum worthy metalwork. And what does metalwork mean? So yeah. Next one. So next we have questioning. So questioning is persistently challenging the status quo, asking why things function as they do now and how or why they might be changed. So, Barbara Kruger, love her. She is, she like recreates, like, or she does kind of like visual culture mashups and subverts media and advertisements. So that's kind of what she's doing here with the Who Does She Think She Is. So she kind of questions the whole that the media and advertisements and just like commodities and culture and capitalism has on us. And like, yeah, she does a lot with capitalism for sure, like ads and stuff like that. So she kind of questions like, what does this do to us, and like how does it make women in art history? She's very feminist. But this is an artist. This is how they question. Also, Fred Wilson obviously also questioned how museum structures are and how, and he had some actual pieces where he's not just curating, but he shows that it doesn't just have to be the actual making of things, but sometimes just the organizing of things that can be art. But, you know, he also questioned the museum here. So, you know, it's not just like he's associating two different things. Like here, obviously, these are different things, like the slave shackles and the teapots, and then the painting and the clothing. But he's also questioning and, yeah. And she's also, I guess, associating. She's associating between the influence of ads on our lives and women's mental health and stuff like that. So observing is intently watching the world around you without judgment in search of new insights or ways of operating. So I thought that honestly the most fitting thing here, because there are so many, like, you know, observing is a great thing for a photographer, obviously. They're observing the everyday life around them. You know, there's all different types of photography if we get into that. But this is, if y'all don't know Humans of New York, y'all should like, follow, because it's great. But I assume probably everybody's heard of it at least because it's very popular. But if you didn't know, Brandon, I forgot his last name. The guy that started Humans of New York, he graduated from UGA. So a little dog alumni on our hands. And yeah, so he's intently watching the world around him without judgment. So he's always like going out to people and like asking people without judgment, observing them and taking pictures of them as they are. Right now, it's a bit different, but that's different than whatever. Observing. Okay. This is Kitty. Okay, so networking is being willing to interact with others and learn from them even if their views are radically different or their competencies seem unrelated. So this is like a socially engaged art piece by an artist called Rickertit. Look below, it's there. And so he's really great. So he has these kind of like setups in these galleries. So this was like from his first one. And he's a Vietnamese artist, or Thai. Maybe Thai and Vietnamese. I've been looking at so many artists lately, these guys. I'm getting everybody confused. But so he serves food out of like this gallery and has like this experience of him serving food in this gallery and like the construction of like and you're eating within a gallery space is something that you don't really do. And he does the same thing over here with the sushi, and that's called the raw and the cooked. So it has like sushi, both raw and cooked and different stuff like that. But it's all about like sharing a meal with people and like coming together and networking and like getting to know people and sharing different views, and how like meals and like the sharing of meals is like in food is like cultural and like a sense of community and things like that. And there's a lot of good cultural like social cultural art that deals with food, because of like food is just like such a strong connection to people's sense of home and to people's sense of their culture. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. Next. Okay, so next we have experimenting. So experimenting is exploring new possibilities by trying them out, building models, and taking them apart for further improvement. So this is Lee Hongbo, and he takes these, yeah, it's paper, but it looks like a sculpture. So he is experimenting. He made something new. And it's amazing. Yeah. I can't explain how he does it because I don't even know. So that's about, like, I've watched a video where he's like, I just cut it. And I'm like, but how? It's amazing. This is experimenting in my mind. Alright, so at the rest of the chapter, we were talking about self-taught, folk, and outsider artists. These are artists that don't have formal training. Yeah, so this is R.A. Miller, right here, below Oscar, and then this is Thornton Dial. And there's not this Thornton Dial, but a different Thornton Dial right by an R.A. Miller. In the Georgia Museum of Art. So yeah, these are just artists that don't have formal training in the arts. They didn't go to art school. A lot of them started at a younger age. A lot of times they use materials that you find around the house, or like you get at like Home Depot or recycled materials or whatever. Yeah. All right, representational art. Representational art, hold on. Representational art depicts the appearance of things. When human form is the primary subject, it is called figurative art. It represents or presents again. Objects we recognize from the natural, everyday world. Objects that representational art depicts are called subjects. So, yeah, this is representational. This is Jordan Castile. She was an artist in residence here a few years ago. These are, you know what these look like. This would mean it's representational. It represents what it is. Self-explanatory. These are subjects. These are figurative people and subjects. Also representational would be like a still life. So it would be just like a regular painted bowl of fruit or something, you know. Abstract. Yayoi Kusama. Love her. So abstract, the verb abstract means to take from. It means to extract the essence of an object or an idea. In art, the word abstract can mean either 1, works of art that have no reference at all to natural objects, or 2, works that depict natural objects in simplified, distorted, or exaggerated ways. So yeah, this would be like no reference at all to real objects. I mean, maybe some reference, maybe to, if you're like a scientist. But for the most part, her stuff is like a little bit more psychedelic. But if you have something that's like abstract, but also you can tell what it is, there's examples in your book. Just look at it. Okay, non-representational art. Non-representational art, sometimes called non-objective art or non-figurative art, presents visual forms with no specific reference to anything outside of themselves. So yeah, Leonardo drew. He takes all of these scraps of wood and like glues them together, and they just kind of form as they go, and he takes like other stuff. But yeah, it doesn't have anything that it represents from or comes from like it's non-objective. It's just a visual form. So form is the total effect of the combined visual qualities within a work, including such components as material, color, shape, line, and design. And content refers to the message or meaning of the work of art, what the artist expresses or communicates to the viewer. Form and content are inseparable. Content determines form. Form expresses content. So this is, the form is the total qualities of everything in this work, The shape, the line, the color. And the content is what is gathered from it, the meaning, what the artist is expressing. So without this form, it would not convey the same meaning. Without the same form, it wouldn't convey the same meaning. And we'll get into that too, but like, you know, that also comes down to if you change the colors in something, it can convey something else, because colors can affect motion. The form, since this includes color, like this, the content would completely change if this was like bright pink or bright yellow, or even if it was white. Like there's something about it, because it's like all like burnt-y and looking kind of ominous, that it kind of determines what the content that you gather from it. So, now we're kind of moving on to chapter 3, elements of art. The elements, the physical parts of which the work is built. Line, shape, form, space, texture, light, and color. Line. Alright, our primary line is our primary visual means for recording and symbolizing ideas, observations, and feelings. Extension of a point wherein length dominates over width, paths of action. Characteristics of a line are active or static, aggressive or passive, sensual or mechanic, can define boundaries or imply volumes and masses, can be grouped to depict light, shadow, pattern, and textures. Lines are all around you. You've been making them since the first time you, I don't know, held anything in your hand that would mark. Okay, implied lines. So implied lines suggest visual connections. They can serve as anything underlying as an organization anything such as an underlying organizational structure. So here the implied lines are the ones that go, and they kind of are connected by your eye, but not like by reality, because like these lines don't actually connect. See? The actual vertical lines don't connect, and then can you read what it says? Yeah, so the implied lines wrote wow. Alright, so shape. Shape is the area within the outline of an object or figure. So we have two-dimensional shapes. We have three-dimensional shapes. Again, you should have been learning about shapes since you've been talking. But here are some shapes that maybe you don't talk about. These are, so two-dimensional, I picked Kara Walker for this because she's great. And so two-dimensional shapes, Kara Walker does these flat decal type installations across entire large walls of galleries, and they kind of like depict like slavery life and like pre-revolution. They're very layered with meaning. We have some, and she also does like, she does a lot. But, so these are flat, these are 2D. This is what I'm trying to say mostly is they're silhouetted shapes. They're black, white, shape. You know, the not shape is the white part. And then we have three-dimensional shapes. So this three-dimensional shape is like sugar baby, and then, so for this, it's made out of sugar. And it's in an old sugar factory. And it's a large, female woman. It's like sugar mama, as like black female, and like, it has a lot of, other connotations, but it's a three-dimensional shape. And we'll talk about the rest later. But if y'all want to look it up, it's on the bottom of the thing. Okay, organic shapes. So organic shapes are irregular, often curving or rounded. They seem more relaxed and informal than geometric shapes. Most shapes in nature are organic. So, remember, most shapes in nature are organic. It may or may not be on quiz 2. I can't remember, but I feel like it might be. And then biomorphic also suggests shapes based on natural forms. So yeah, like amoebas, shapes in nature that are organic. The coronavirus is an organic shape. Someone from UGA designed what it looked like. Geometric shapes are precise and regular, circles, triangles. Oh yeah, this artist is Warren Eisen, and he does like a lot of these cool, funky, psychedelic-y looking shapes, and yeah, pop art. So geometric shapes, so they are precise and regular, circles, triangles, and squares, often made with help of tools such as rulers or compass. Most common shapes in the human-made world are geometric. I'll say that again. The most common shapes in the human-made world are geometric. That one might be on, I don't remember which one it is. So yeah, this is James Tyrell, Sky Space. So he has these, this is an artist that creates these structures that are perfectly angled to essentially give a view of the sky, and then the inside will light up at different times, at like depending on the light to complement the light of the sky, and he kind of creates a picture when but they're shaped. And that's a circle and that's a square, and these are geometric shapes. And that's the point of that. Alright. Shapes creates second shape out of the background of an area. So picture plane is a flat picture surface. Ground equals the negative shape in the background. Dominant figures are the positive shapes. Figure-ground relationship is a fundamental aspect of perception because it allows us to sort out and interpret what we see. So this is by Dominique Fung. It is called Exotic Fruit Hall. And yeah, so the figure-ground relationship allows us to sort what we see. So where things are, and like it allows us to see like, oh, this is separate from this. This looks more forward. This looks middle ground. This looks background. That's what figure-ground relationship kind of refers to. Then we have implied shape. So implied shape is, yeah, there's implied to be a triangle here. Okay, forming mass is the three-dimensional element of art, and it has length, width, and height. Y'all might know this from science, I hope. I know that there's lots of science people in this class. Like shape, form can be a geometric, cylinders, cubes, spheres, or organic. So these are organic. This is Thaddeus Mosley. Yeah, he has organic sculptures. And they have mass and form. All right, space. Space in art refers to the area around, between, and within shapes or forms. Works of art have both positive and negative space. The illusion of space can be created in two-dimensional works of art using a variety of techniques. Sculpture works exist in space and have positive and negative space. And how an artist organizes space is one of their most important creative considerations. So, yeah. You know, it's all about, like, if an artist put all of these people in different spots, that would be different. If it was like here, it might have a different impact, or if it was up here. So that's why it's like that. So space in 3 dimensions. So space in 3 dimensions is most difficult to convey in words and pictures. To express 3-dimensional space, we must be in it. Architects especially concerned with the qualities of space. Yeah, so this is the vessel. It's in New York. It's in the Hudson Yard. It's a cool architecture thing. It has the feeling of space in there. It's probably great. If y'all watch, was it Project Runway or the one of those fashion shows had a runway. I think it must have been Project Runway. Fashion show in there. It was really cool. I haven't seen it in person, but I want to. And then we also have Jesus Soto. So yeah, this is an installation. So this is within a space. So it has it in 3 dimensions. So that is like an art piece. This is architecture. That's space in 3 dimensions. You can literally walk inside of this because it's like a movable structure, and there's information about it on the side. Space in 2 dimensions. In drawing and painting, we see the space of the surface all at once. The illusion of space can be created in a 2-dimensional work of art using a variety of methods, including overlapping, size, placement, and shading, as well as both linear and atmospheric perspective. So here is Antonio Mara. So this is like the overlapping and like how he creates spaces. It kind of looks like the things are, like it looks like there's multiple layers of it because of colors. So we have implied depth. So viewer may be conscious of a picture's actual flat surface. The illusion of depth, the artist can I'm struggling right now, guys. Emphasize. Artists can emphasize either the reality or the illusion, or strike a balance between the extremes. Implied depth just means that, yeah, this is the picture, but it looks like it goes, like he painted it all the way back, maybe a mile, in by having like little trees, and then like that sign is back, like littler, and yeah, you know, there's just, oh, and that's Lu Xiaodong. And then foreshortening. Foreshortening is a method for rendering a figure or object in a perspective. It's, you know, like it's coming right at you. So this is Ai Weiwei's study of perspective series. So he did this from 1995 to 2010. And he like just went around flicking off places and things, but with his arm to the camera because it's a study of perspective. So linear perspective. So perspective means any Means of representing, I probably should put this part first. Perspective means any means of representing three-dimensional objects in space on a two-dimensional surface based on the way we see. So this is David Hockney. David Hockney is very good at perspective. So this is like actually like an angled work, and it comes like out. So it obviously the lines linear because of lines and stuff. Usually it's inside, you know. So there's perspective. You can tell. David Hockney is a British artist. He's old, but good. Atmospheric perspective. So it means it's nonlinear, means of giving illusion of depth created by changing of color and detail. I thought this was like atmospheric perspective. Yeah, this one obviously it is an abstract work of art and it looks flat, but at the same time by having different colors and like changing the colors and the details, it does create this illusion like these like are further apart from each other and things like that. So this is a simplified version of a non-linear means for giving the illusion of depth. So yeah. So yeah, these are different types of like shading or whatever. So overlapping is the object that is, figure out perspective. What am I saying? Overlapping the object that is the closest will overlap and obscure objects that are further back in space. This is obvious. The size, the larger objects appear closer. Obviously, like if you just were to take a picture right now, I look like I'm closer than this because I'm going to be bigger. Placement. Objects higher in the picture plane appear to be further away. And then, yeah, so whatever. So time is the use of change as an element of art, important in performance art, kinetic art, and video. Time is the fourth dimension, invisible but can be made perceptible in art. The element of time has become more important during the 20th and 21st centuries as artists began to work with video performance and kinetic art. Here you see a photograph of the artist Marina Abramovich and Yule during a performance entitled Relation in Time. The couple sat back to back in a gallery with their hair tied together for a total of 17 hours, inviting the public to witness the final hour. So, interesting. So, comics convey the passage of time, or express linear conception of time. This is an excerpt from The Hard Tomorrow by Eleanor Davis. She is a local Athens illustrator, artist, writer. I have a few of her books. So I would reach the other one, but obviously that was hard enough. Highly recommend her books, How to Be Happy. I don't have The Hard Tomorrow yet because, well, I'm going to ask for it for Christmas. And yeah. How to Be Happy. She is cool, and comics convey the passage of time. And from Athens. So sometimes she does book readings that probably fit in like signings if it weren't coronavirus time. Okay, so implied motion. It gives a lifelike feeling. So this is Nika Shanibre, and River Bend on Ice. So this is, no, Reverend, sorry. Sorry, this is moving. The Reverend. Yeah, so this is Reverend on Ice by Yanika Shunibre, but here is also implied motion, and it was first done by Sir Henry Rayburn, and Yanika Shunibre always plays on like the colonial Yinka Shanibre always plays on the colonial like ideas. So yeah, it's implied motion. He's not actually skating. This is a sculpture. This is a painting. I should probably have said that. This is a sculpture. He has like these sculptures where they're like moving, so it's implied that that the thing is moving, but obviously it's not. This is actual motion. So this artist harnesses the forces of wind and water. So this is Anthony Howe, and he does like stainless steel kinetic sculptures that move with the wind. And then light. Everything we see is made visible by light. It can be directed, reflected, refracted, or diffused. Source, color, intensity, direction of light generally affect the way things appear. So implied light is a value perceived as a relationship rather than an isolated form. So this is an art piece by one of my friends, Matt Eidelberg, and it's a self-portrait. And he is an artist and educator living in Baltimore, and he's really, really good at realist art. And yeah, this is implied light. It is also chiaroscuro. You'll see that in your book. A lot of people don't do chiaroscuro anymore, but he's a realist painter. And it means like coming from like a specific light source. And obviously he does that here, and it's implied there's not real light. Yeah. So this is an oil painting. It takes him forever to do it. Light is also a medium, especially in contemporary art. So this is Tracy Emin on over here. Oh, what? This is Tracy Emin. She's female, feminist, conceptual artist. She uses light. She uses a lot of different media, honestly. And then this is Dan Flavin. He mostly just does light. So color. Color is the sensation caused by differing qualities of light. Color affects us directly and can modify our thoughts, moods, actions, and even our health. The physics of color. Objects that appear to have color are merely reflecting the colors that are represented, that present in the light that illuminates them. Blech. The physics of color. Objects that appear to have color are merely reflecting the colors that are present in the light that illuminates them. When the white light of the sun passes through the prism, it is refracted into the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Different wavelengths for each color. Red has the longest wavelength and travels more rapidly than blue. That's why, like, y'all ever pay attention to rainbows, and like it's always really hard to see like the violet-ish color. It doesn't travel as long. Color has three main properties: hue, value, and saturation. Hue is the wavelength of the color described by the color name, like red, orange, green, yellow, blue, blah, blah, blah. Saturation is the purity of the color, ranging from neutral gray to the pure color. So, yeah. Like, yeah, the pureness, the saturation. Y'all use your camera phones. Y'all know how to play with saturation. Value refers to the lightness or the darkness of the color. Lighter, darker. Value. For example, cobalt, sky blue, navy, and slate blue all share the same hue, which is blue. They differ in value and saturation. So like a bluer blue would be like, you know, your slate blue. Cobalt. Slate's the never mind. Whatever. Y'all get it. Just look it up. It's not that important. Color wheel. The artist's pigment wheel, which is commonly used by painters, is based on the colors that are seen after white light travels through a prism. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the color wheel. The concept was first developed in the 17th century by Isaac Newton. Three primary colors: red, blue, yellow. By mixing the colors, you find secondary colors, intermediate colors. Read it. Subtractive color mixes are mixes that produce duller, darker, more absorbent qualities The three pigments come together are red, blue, yellow. Paints. Whenever you mix it, just like turns brown if you mix all of the primary colors. Additive color mixes produce white light. When combined, the three light primaries are red, orange, green, and blue violet. Mostly for like lights. Texture. So texture is the tactile qualities or visual representation of those qualities. Texture can be experienced through the touching or visual suggestion. This is from an installation by Lorna Simpson in 1994 called Wicks. Yeah, she does a lot to play with, like women's beauty standards and black female beauty standards, and she uses like wigs. Wigs have texture. That's why, yeah, that's why I have that under there, because hair is texture. Actual texture is the condition in which texture is created, not represented. Actual texture is common in sculpture, but also can exist in impasto paintings. Impasto paint, it's just whenever a painting looks like it is lifted up. And yeah, so this is two works by Simone Saunders, and she does like needle, punch needle, textile art, and yeah, texture. This is raised. It's like a rug. Like, it would feel like a rug, but it's a wall hanging. They're like. Implied texture is a visual representation or illusion of a tactile surface, is common in two-dimensional works of art. So, Kehinde Wiley is really good at applied texture. Fur. This is an applied texture of fur. It looks like he's really good at fabrics. Like, this looks like real blue jeans. So, yeah, you know, he gets it. Real wallpaper, all of that. And so, yeah, that's it. That's all for this presentation. And, yeah. I'll do something else if I think of anything else that I need to tell y'all. All right, bye.